Not long ago, it would have been a stretch to use Western Star and aerodynamic in the same sentence. The 5700 XE lays waste to that notion. Hi, I'm Jim Park with today's Trucking's Ultimate Test Drive. We're in Rhyolite, Nevada this time with a brand spanking new Western Star 5700 XE, which, they tell me, stands for extreme efficiency. We're a couple of hours outside of Las Vegas where Daimler trucks launched the 5700. The trip out here was the easy part. Straight flat road, no hills, no bumps, hardly a workout at all for a truck like this one. But here we find a bunch of wicked little grades and tight little turns. And the road, well, it's not so good. In other words, it's a great place to see if the 5700 lives up to its heritage. Let's get started with an uphill pull to see how well the highly integrated DD15 engine and the DT12 transmission read the grade and pour on the power just where it's needed. Okay, we're pulling out onto Route 374 coming down from Rhyolite, and we're heading back in towards the town of Beatty. You can see the hill up ahead of us here. It's a couple of miles long, really straight, and it steps up in probably 3 increments. It's flat right here. We're just getting onto the roadway, but you'll see just a couple hundred yards it's going to start going up. And while it looks not terribly steep from here, that's probably 6% right ahead of us there. So we'll see what the engine does here on a 6% grade. We're just shifted into 11th gear, and we're at 1150 RPM at the bottom of the hill. So now we're going to work our way up there in 11th gear, and we're going to hold it around 1200, it looks like, going up here. 1750 pound-feet of torque, and that's what you need on a hill like this to keep your engine RPM down, your torque levels way up, and your fuel economy stays in the positive zone. So now we're leveling out a bit, and we're starting to gain some ground. Just coming up through 1400 RPM now in 11th gear. So it's climbing up from 1150 up to 14. And we're still in 11th, and I think we're going to try and go for a shift from 11th to 12th here in just a minute. Still climbing. Still the torque's doing most of the work at this point. Okay, 1550, upshifts to 12, and takes us down to 1200 RPM. Now we're on a steeper part of the grade right now, so we're probably going to pull a downshift here in just a second. There we go. Down to 11th, 1400 RPM, and over the top we go. So that gives you some idea where the low-end grunt is in this engine and the way the transmission is set up to work with it, keeping those RPMs low. That's really good for fuel economy. So now we're starting to downgrade down into the town of Beatty. She's in eco mode rolling out here right now, so I'm just going to flip the engine brake on. Bounces the engine right up to 1200 when I put it into gear. We'll downshift from 12th to 11th up to 1600 RPM, 55 miles an hour. We're coming down here to a 35 mile an hour speed limit, so I'm going to get on the brakes, do a couple of quick downshifts, and get us down under the proper speed. Okay, 1800 now in 9th gear, and we're just crossing through 35, so there we go. That'll keep the sheriff happy. And here's a great example of how the DT12 transmission helps to optimize engine brake performance. This thing just pulled a downshift from 8th to 7th, going from 1800 to 2300 RPM. On the downshift. That's amazing. I've never seen one of these do that. So you want some bite out of your engine brake, you got to get the RPMs up, and this one's certainly not afraid to do it. Hot weather and engine fans can wreck fuel efficiency pretty effectively, but the 5700's designers appear to have right-sized the radiator and optimized airflow through that big bold grille. Climbing the hill 10th gear at 1400 RPM, and the engine temperature is about 190 right now, 195. So even at 110 degrees ambient temperature, we still got a reasonably good engine temp. and that fan's not coming on yet. And that's important because that fan can sure suck the fuel economy down pretty badly.
So after giving the truck a bit of a workout in the heat and on the hills between Rhyolite and Beatty, we packed up the gear and headed south for Las Vegas. On the way, I recorded a few general observations about the truck.
The suspension on this truck is remarkably smooth. It's the Western Star, so it's got the big wide cab, and of course it's got a big wide sleeper suspension as well. Give you lots of lateral stiffness when you're turning from right to left. You don't feel the truck swaying on the suspension. That sleeper suspension system does a great job of keeping that nice and steady with the frame. This is a pretty decent road we're driving on. Asphalt, blacktop's pretty smooth, but the ride in this truck is really, really remarkable. It's a 13,300 pound front end with taper leaf springs, 40,000 rears with the Freightliner air ride. And I think what makes the big difference here is the cab suspension. It's the Western Star, so it's a nice wide stance on the suspension. That really takes out the side-to-side sway, especially in a crosswind. I'm having absolutely no difficulty at all getting used to this truck. It's really, really smooth, really, really responsive too. And the steering geometry is really good. It holds a straight line really well. And even going around some of the little twisty corners we were on today, it wasn't hard to figure out exactly where you were on the road. So there's no mystery as far as where the edge of the road's concerned and where your tires are. So top marks for ride and handling, top marks for loudness or noise inside the cab here. I think some of the quietness really has to be given over to the aerodynamics on this truck. When you've got a truck that's not very aerodynamic, you can hear the wind noise. Rattles the side of the sleeper. You can just hear a rumbling or a whistling sometimes around the cab. Not getting that here. We had the iPhone sound meter working earlier, and I was getting about 72 dB out of it. That was about the same reading we had on the Kenworth T680 as well. It's a truck I'm really happy with. I'm glad to see they've come around with the aerodynamic styling. That's going to keep the model in production for several more years, to be sure. And I think it's going to go a long way to bringing over a whole bunch of new Western Star customers who've been looking for aerodynamics in a more traditionally styled truck. I said way back at the beginning of all this was a trucker's truck. No offense intended to anybody who's not a Billy Big Rigger type, but the folks who like the big classic style truck are really going to be happy with this arrangement, because it's a big classic truck, tons of room, big hood, but you also have the Aero advantage as well.
It looks like the classic Western Star has a new lease on life. Die-hard classic truck fans may be reluctant to give up their hoods, but this truck may be the one that converts the holdouts. It's every bit a classic, but with aerodynamics combined with the proven Detroit powertrain, the 5700 XE will soon be putting money into the pockets of even the most strident diehards. There's more to the 5700 than good looks and good performance. Check out the video with the truck's chief designer Don Vina to see how he combined classic truck styling with state-of-the-art aerodynamics. We've also got a walk-around video too, and another highlighting some of the technology, safety, and driver comfort features of the 5700. For today's Trucking's Ultimate Test Drive, I'm Jim Park in Rhyolite, Nevada. That's just a few miles from Area 51. Drive safe, keep your revs down, and watch out overhead.